Hello everybody, welcome back to Commonwealth Flipper. You know, I've been yard selling most of my life and around here for about 25 years, and almost everybody is extremely nice, whether they're having the yard sale or the other pickers that pick here, except for one guy. Did you know you had to pay taxes on profits made at garage sales? Well, sort of. Hey, we're going to talk about taxes a little bit today. I got a couple of messages the other day. One was a result of somebody looking at Dave, ADH Dave's little garage sale down there, where he was selling off a bunch of stuff. And they asked a question, and then I got a different email. Actually, that was in a comment. I got a different email from somebody about having a garage sale and how they report that stuff. And then I saw a Progressive TV commercial. I don't know if you've seen these. These are the ones with the backup quarterbacks, and they call in a backup quarterback to do something. In this case, it was taxes, and the lady who was doing them, she was the starter before they called in the backup, said, hey, our garage sale income taxable or something like that, and then they call in the thing. I'm like, man, there's 3 different things in the last few days talking about this, and I just wanted to talk a little bit more in general about stuff with taxation and with reselling, because I get these questions all the time. I usually avoid them, but sometimes I don't. I want to talk about that today in a much bigger picture than just garage sales. But there are a lot of people out there who still, after reselling forever, still do things in just a screwy way, in my opinion. Again, I'm not an accountant, but I'm going to tell you what I do, and I will tell you a couple things, and I would love for you pros out there who've been doing this forever to chime in down below in the comments and give your suggestions as well. But as always, we are going to be pulling some items as well. This is one of those items that didn't sell from that giant Flintstones buy that we had down at the Webster Flea Market last year. And they finally sold. Some of them I have listed over on Dibdit that haven't sold as well. But anyway, Flintstones Valentines. How cool are these? $1.99. Here's an interesting thing. This kind of ties into the garage sale talk. So 2 of these, original cost $2. They sold for $19.95 plus shipping. I didn't even pay $2 for them though. Pretty cool. Incidentally, these are going to where are they going to? East Asia, I'm sure. They're going through Shop Airlines, and that's obviously means it's going to Redondo Beach, California, and then it'll end up going to East Asia. Probably Japan is my guess. I'm almost certain that these will end up in Japan through the international, actually through Shop Airlines. So this is just going to be a drop shipper. Now I was going to talk about the guy first that really, I don't think he likes, I know he doesn't like me. I've really never much talked to him, but there's a couple little things that tell me, well, I'll tell you in a second. Let's just say that. But since this is a good item to talk about, let's just say a normal Joe Schmo out there is having a garage sale. They're not a reseller even. Let's just face it, 99.9% of those folks aren't even going to think or process the fact that, you know, am I paying taxes on this like that lady at the table? So yes, obviously, technically, you're supposed to pay taxes on anything you make a profit on. And if you did buy these years and years and years ago for $1.99 and you sold them for $20, you know, there's a little bit of profit there. And so, yes, of course you would pay taxes. But let's just think about a normal garage sale. How many things at a garage sale are you, if you're selling your personal things, are you going to sell for more than you paid for it? Almost nothing is like that. And so, you know, in reality, people don't think about it because a typical family having a typical yard sale is taking a loss on things. They're not making any money at all on the whole garage sale as a whole. If they're doing line item stuff, nobody does line item stuff and calculate it just doesn't happen. But I do want to lead into a little bit bigger discussion on taxes in just a second, and the 1099 and all that stuff. We've talked about it before. Most of you may even be bored with it a little bit, but I want to give a couple twists on it today as I pick through some items. And I also want to talk about this guy and what my theory is, why this guy doesn't like me very much. And he's done things at sales that I've been at that he's been picking at too, that I've never seen anybody do it before. And it always kind of irks me a little bit, but I just go about my business. So another one of these Cindy Lou Who's. I just took them all out of the attic because they've been selling. I think they'll all sell off. I have Sally there too, which isn't listed. I think I didn't list a couple thinking I'd sell them on Dibdit, and then I forgot one of them. But it's giant Cindy Lou Who, Dr. Seuss plush. Sold for $41.30 plus shipping. Bought at Walmart for $7 on clearance. That's not a bad little profit. They actually shrink down. I get a trash bag, and I put it in a trash bag and push all the air out of it. You can actually get them in a number 7 box. It's really hard, but I usually don't ship out priority, so I'll put it in one of these boxes here. So here's my theory with this gentleman here. Years and years ago, I'd see him all over the place, all the time. And I never used to pick with a camera on, of course, until about 5 years ago, or a little bit less. And one time, I ended up going to a yard sale that he was having. And I realized, and there was massive quantities of stuff. And he was selling it much over the price where I could make much of anything on it on eBay. And so I realized that this guy was a picker, going to yard sales, having his own, finding good items that you could resell, but he was reselling them locally. He wasn't on eBay or anything like that. And so I suppose technically if you're looking at it, if somebody's doing that for a business, they're making a profit, they do need to pay taxes on those kind of things. You know, it's the big benefit for people doing garage sales versus being a reseller. And that's going to tie into that 1099 thing, you know, where it used to be this amount and then the threat of $600, and now it looks like $5,000 to send out that 1099. The reality is if it did drop down to that 600 level in the future, there would be far, far fewer casual resellers because of the accounting that goes into it. Not that it's overwhelming. It's just a hurdle people don't want to jump over at all. I know that because my son is like that. He resells, but very, very little. And he's constantly asking me, what are they going to do this year? Is it going to be 5,000? Is it going to be whatever? It's because he don't want to deal with it. So after I started wearing a camera out to yard sales, I happened upon one of his yard sales again. And do I not have, I need to change a light bulb in here. All right, I fixed it. And I'm glad I remembered that, or I recognized that, because we're going to do giveaways. It reminded me of the deformable light we gave away last week. And we've got some more giveaways today, a little bit later in the show, both announcing winners and announcing new giveaways. And I'll get back to my story about this guy. Let me pull this one first. Little CD right here. I don't often sell CDs, but sometimes at a sale, if I'm not finding much for the day or something, I'll grab a CD for $1. And this was a double 2 CD set, early days and later days of Led Zeppelin. And I grabbed it and it sells $15.95. Since this one went to Bradley, he didn't even leave a message. I recognize your name, Crosley Field. We appreciate you as always, plus shipping. So I go to this guy's sale with a camera on this time, and he immediately says, you know, are you filming? And I said, yeah, I'm filming. I have a YouTube channel and whatever. He's, turn it off, turn it off. I was like, okay. And so I turned it off. I always do. If somebody asks me to turn it off, I'll turn it off. You can film anywhere that doesn't have a reasonable expectation of privacy, but you know, if it is private property and they ask you to turn it off and you refuse to do it, which you can refuse, but then they can kick you off because it's private property, right? So it's just stupid. So, of course, I'm not going to film somebody if they don't want me to. But then he just started, after I turned it off and said, hey, no problem. He's like, I don't want you filming any of this stuff in here. I don't want anybody, well, I don't know the exact words. I don't want to put words in his mouth. But it came off as the stuff is what he didn't want filmed, as opposed to him or the customers or people or something. And I found that to be odd. But then later on, at other sales that he went to as a picker, he would do something that really kind of got under my skin. And I think I know why. I don't know 100% why, but I think I understand. I'm kind of happy I've sold stuff from the top row because I need to move stuff over to where that was. I got to pull this because I got something I want to put up there. That's kind of cool. All right, so this Furby, I picked it up at a highway sale, and I paid $15 for it. And this one you could tell is just in great shape. The box has got a little damage, still taped shut over there. This one to me looked like it's never ever been out of the box. And that Furby right there, sometimes they're hit and miss. You just gotta figure out which one you got. That one right there sold for $50. So 15 into 50. Plus shipping, you know, you'll make $25 to $29 profit on that one. You know, I even ended up buying a few things from that guy that day, and he sold them to me. I mean, you know, but he wasn't exactly friendly to me even after the fact. And he was selling things for obviously more than I would pay at a typical yard sale. But I found this whole thing was full of amazing stuff that easily could sell on eBay. But the price is like, for something like this, he might be charging $35. Well, I'm not paying $35 to sell for $50. His prerogative. But he probably paid $5 for it, and he's selling it for $35 at his yard sale. He's going to make some sales. He's going to make some profit. And I left that day. I don't even remember what I bought. It was clothing items, jacket or something like that. And I go to a sale a couple weeks later, and he is there at the sale. It's not his sale. And he sees me, and he looks at me funny, and he immediately walks straight over to the person having the yard sale and saying, that person's filming. That person's filming everything at this garage sale. He's doing it. I'm like, what in the world? And the lady asked, she's like, are you filming? I said, yeah, I'm filming. I'm filming for a YouTube channel. This is my YouTube channel. And she said, oh, cool. She's like, hi, and whatever. And boy, he got upset. Well, he didn't say anything. You could just tell it wasn't the reaction that he wanted. But I'm like, why would somebody do? I don't get it. Doesn't make sense. And it reminded me of when I started filming years back at the flea market. There was a couple of people at the flea market who really reacted to it just exactly like that. And I'm just thinking, do these people think that the IRS is watching my channel and they're not paying taxes on this stuff and they're afraid of... That's the only thing I can think of with the reactions that I was getting. It wasn't like, I don't want my face on there, whatever. It was... I don't want anything. I don't want anybody to know what I'm doing. And so that's kind of, I mean, let's face it. A lot of folks who are dealing in cash and selling off storage units and stuff, they're taking it. They're taking it to a flea market. They're taking it somewhere else. They're doing whatever. And they're not paying taxes on the cash that's coming in. There might be on part of their business if they're selling it on eBay or whatever. But, I mean, I'm not suggesting people do that. I'm just saying... let's face it. Let's look at a little bit of reality here. That's what's going on with a lot of folks. Side note, with all this talk about no taxes on Social Security or no taxes on tip, I think we should start a push. No taxes on secondary markets. Recycling, you could make that push. I wouldn't hold your breath. All right, here we go. This is a hat lot, and I picked this up. It's kind of infuriating, frustrating, I should say. It was during the 100-mile yard sale, which is around here, and this was an unadvertised church sale, which I would have gone to first thing in the morning, but I didn't. This is a hat lot. I just happened to run across it, believe it or not. This is a U.S. Open hat lot, and there are some good ones in here. Depending on the year, you can sell them for a little bit more, depending on who won that year. If it's a Tiger Woods one or something like that. And I got them so cheap. I think they're 50 cents down to a quarter, or $1 down to 50 cents. There's 12 of them, paid somewhere between $3 and $6 for this lot, and decided to sell them all off together. Just made more sense than waiting around and doing all the individual listings. $40 for those plus shipping. So a lot of folks who are fairly new to reselling, they don't have a system down. A lot of folks who have been doing it a long time, and in my opinion, do it in a way that is not efficient and not great. But I don't want to go into great detail because, like I said, I'm not an accountant. However, I would tell you how I do it, and I will answer some of the low-hanging fruit questions. People, how do you track garage sale stuff? And some people will tell you, well, you need to, hand write a receipt and keep a log of how much you spend at each yard sale and the addresses and line item, every single item and whatever. And I'm like, whew, man, if I had to do that, I think I'd quit. Pepper came in to join us here. I already gave her a treat, so don't feel too bad for her. By the way, the dogs haven't been in here much because we're putting in an underground fence for them because they have just, especially Poncho, has gone nuts lately wanting to run away. I'm not sure why he'd ever want to run away. He loves us so much, but he just is a young pup and wants to run. So we don't let him out of the house until that thing's in, but the kids will bring him in here every once in a while. I got kind of lucky on this Futaba controller, and I don't even remember where I bought it for, but I saw it. Oh, you know what? I know exactly where this sale was. And I saw it, and I'm like, oh, it looks cool. No signal in there or anything. I'm like, how much you want for it? And I'm like, $2. And I'm like, okay. Took it home, looked it up. I thought for sure it'd be worth something, right? But it was pretty good. It sold for $44.95. Pretty good profit right there. And that's kind of the key. People ask me all these detailed questions sometimes, and it's pretty simple. If you make a profit on something, and it's not quite that simple, actually, then you have to pay taxes on it. But it's not just about the profit. Look at the yard sale example we had a minute ago. If you sell something that makes money, but you sell 70 things that lose money, you don't have to pay taxes. You just don't. You're taking a loss. So that's part of it too. And so it's the overall profit that you make that you have net profit. This is how much money comes in after all those expenses. And that's where a lot of people just miss the boat. They just don't take all of the legal roadways, the pathways to reduce their tax liability. And I know people who resell to this day who still don't count their mileage, for goodness sake. It's one of the biggest things you can write off. We've had so many clothes come in lately. I had to redo this. This is Reagan's old gymnastics bar that she doesn't use here anymore. And so we redid a little bit and put some clothes in here, and there's the camo bin. Some redhead bibs right here, picked up at a sale, super cheap. They sold for $34.95 plus shipping. Speaking of mileage, you know, those highway sales that I love going to, they're expensive. I mean, you got to pay a ton of gas. You've got to pay for accommodations, food, all that stuff. Writing off mileage is the only thing that makes it profitable in the end, to be perfectly honest with you, because there's a lot of expense, and I travel a long way for some of those things. So, you know, you got to keep track of stuff. There's many, many different ways to do it, of course, and you'll know I'll talk about my Reseller Genie at some point in this video. And there's many different ways, and I don't necessarily like to suggest something to somebody to do it this way if they have a system that is already efficient that they're doing. But for a lot of folks like me who just loathe bookkeeping and accounting and tax, all that stuff, it makes sense for me to do something like that. But as far as the nuts and bolts of it go, that mileage deduction, what is it, 67 cents a mile or something at this point? I should probably have looked that up, but I think it's somewhere around there. You know, I don't drive new cars, never have, never will. And so I'm actually making money on that deduction because I don't have interest loans on cars. I'm not, you know, yes, you're putting not just the gas into it, you're putting miles on your car, and there's wear and tear and all that stuff. But in the end, because of the way I do things, it's actually profitable, sort of, in a weird way, to take those deductions. And I'm meticulous about it. Every little thing I do, like last night, I had to go to the dump. We have a little trash service here now. We live out in the sticks. We never used to have one. But we do have one now, which I'm very grateful for. But sometimes this business generates garbage. And sometimes it can't fit in that dumpster. And so I got to go to the dump, or I got to go pick up a box for a particular item, and they have a cardboard recycling thing there. You better believe I'm counting that 2.1 miles to the dump. I'm absolutely counting it both ways. And I make it even better because I'll pick up boxes while I'm throwing stuff out or whatever. It's minor, but it just shows you, you know, if you do the right things, you count every mile that you're doing for your business, you can really reduce your tax liability in many different ways. I'll give you another example. If you do things the right way, you can, if you separate everything, your business from your personal, it can go a long way in helping reduce your taxable income. Here's a vintage Nike jacket. You can tell by the tag right there, made in Taiwan. And it's just plain Jane. A lot of people miss something like this, but I picked it up and it sold for 30 bucks plus shipping. I have everything separated. My business account is my business account. We don't mix anything. There's a business checking account, a business savings account. There's all of that. And that is where everybody should start. Once you think, even for a second, you might turn this into real income, you need to do that ASAP. And it makes everything way, way easier. Now, I have a bookkeeper at this point because I hate stuff so much. I hate doing that stuff. And I don't want to lose that ability to write off everything. And it does cost money, so you got to weigh those two things out. But for me, it's well worth it because I can use the time that I would be saving because I'm not good at it. I'm not fast at it. I hate it, in fact. I used to shut my store down for 10 days after the holiday season was over, when Christmas was done and all that. So I could just start focusing, usually in January sometime, focusing on the taxes. And that was taking a huge chunk out of my business. So, along with doing it throughout the rest of the year as well. But separating this stuff is huge. Just a small little example. And some folks might disagree with this, but I'm going to tell you what I do. That bar in there, that gymnastics bar in there, I bought it for my daughter for a birthday or Christmas many moons ago. But because I have everything separated, I could sell that personally and I'd lose money on it. There'd be no taxation. But what I did was different. I bought it from myself. My business bought it from my personal for about the amount that it would sell for on the open market, Facebook Marketplace or whatever, because it's been on my list to sell that thing off. And then when I decided to use it for my business, I purchased it from myself. And that's the kind of stuff that you can reduce that tax liability. Let me say, oh, kids' clothes. My kids' clothes. When we sell personal stuff like that, I will purchase it for the amount that I would buy it at a garage sale from myself. And we do that with the kids' clothes. And it's just minor little things like that. But at the end of the year, it can reduce your legal liability. I'm not talking about cheating here. I'm talking about legal liability. I don't pay taxes on money I'm not making. Oftentimes, my son will ask me to buy something off of him. And he gives it to me at a reasonable price where I can make a little bit of money. But it's so he doesn't have to deal with that stuff. And it's already built into my system. I mean, my oldest son, 22-year-old. Happy birthday, Bubba. By the way, this is the sell ring, WWE. This is one of those things that it's like, do I really want to list it? It's got a low sell-through rate. It's not the easiest to ship, but I did. Got the ring stuff right there. And I'm glad I did. Sold for 25 bucks plus shipping. Now, depending on how big your business is and how well you did in a certain year, if you can look into the future and say, you know, maybe you're winding it down and you want to make sure that, you know, the taxable income on a really, really good year goes down a little bit so that, you know, you're not being taxed at higher rates, for instance. There's different things you can do. I did it this year, actually. I had a really good year this year. And both reselling and social media, I mix everything together, which is a little bit different than some folks. It makes more sense for me to do that because I'm paying people to work on stuff as opposed to having two different LLCs and all that nonsense. So, you know, I've bought that trailer. I put a lot of money into that shed out there. Into this one, that's many moons ago, but they're depreciating assets, and so you can get that tax advantage over a long time. This year, I decided to make a big purchase towards the end of the year. I bought a smaller trailer. I made 2 large buyout purchases as well, and I'm planning on doing one more. So, you know, you kind of got to look. It's not worth it if the time that it takes is taking you away from making more money than you could by avoiding I'm not talking about, you know, doing something illegal. I'm talking about reducing your liabilities legally and taxation. But you got to weigh all that stuff out. Had a second viewer sale today, and this is from Tracy. So I want to thank Tracy. I'm going to have to pull from 3 different places, I think. Scooby-Doo keychain from the 90s. A red Taz keychain from the 90s. I got to go find a blue Taz keychain as well. And there it is, right there. And all 3 of these went to Tracy for under $23. I think we have these set up where there's a discount, I think. Or at least it's free shipping or something. I can't remember. And Tracy left a note. She says, love your channel. I've learned a lot from watching you. Hope you and your family and fur babies all have a wonderful holiday. Thank you, Tracy. I appreciate that. I wish the same, hope the same for you. Now, there's some level of debate about what I'm going to talk about right here. And like I said, I'm not an accountant. I'm not a bookkeeper. I'm not anything of the sort. But I bought these years ago, right? And so a lot of people track items, every single item. And I'm not going to get into the details right here. I don't do that. I track money in, money out. And everything is just done inside of that bank account. And I guess this is where I should talk about my reseller, Genie, for a second. But, you know, they'll tap into, and this is not designed for that. I would have done this video otherwise, but I'm going to do it anyways. Every single dollar that comes out of my business either comes out of that bank account or comes out of a business credit card, which I don't suggest people do unless you're really disciplined, which I think I am for the most part. So all of that stuff has, you know, it's all counted as cost of goods. If I've bought something 2 years ago, it's deducted off those taxes, and I pay the tax when I sell it and the profit and all that stuff. It is just simply money in and money out. And there are some people who refuse to do that because of the ambiguity and stuff. I'm not getting into any of that. I don't really want to debate it, but the time it takes to track individual items, when you bought them, do inventory on it and all that stuff, that would make me quit, to be perfectly honest with you. It's how much money did I make? So you got your top line right here, and then you deduct every single expense that you can legally deduct, right? Tax avoidance isn't illegal. That's legal stuff. Tax evasion is illegal. So doing things the right way and making sure you deduct that stuff. So if you make a large purchase in 1 year, it's going to reduce your liability, but eventually you got to sell that stuff off, and you haven't made that purchase in that year, you're going to have a higher liability. And you just, you know, to me, it's just ease of doing it, ease of keeping track of everything. And when I go to the store, you know, I buy my personal stuff on my personal card, but if I'm buying boxes because I did a Dibdit show or a Shop Common show or whatever it is By the way, Shop Commons shows every Tuesday live wholesale auctions, shopcommons.net. Boy, I slid that one in there pretty easy. Haven't even talked about my Reseller Genie. I put that stuff on my card, and I separate that stuff. It's not that hard if you create the systems. Now, if you just simply have everything mixed together, it's not easy. It's not impossible, but it's not easy. So glad when this sold. Sold on 30% off. They got a good deal. Oh, you snuck in. $10.46. It was on 30% off because it's been around a while. I usually don't list this stuff anymore. And paid $1 for it, whatever. And I sold it for $10.46. Not a great use of time, but somebody got a really nice, looks like it's just been dry cleaned actually, polo slim fit shirt plus shipping. All right, I'm not getting paid for this here, although I guess technically I could be if somebody signs up for it. But regardless, like I said before, there are folks out there who have their own systems that work for them. But if you are new, my alarm's going off. I set alarms for myself. Oh, that was to respond to an offer. They wanted to see measurements on something, and usually we put that in there, but it wasn't in there. So I got to do that. I'll probably forget by the time I'm done filming this. But for those folks out there who are fairly new and they hate it as much as I do, I really, really suggest my Reseller Genie. They actually have added now Mercari to their list of integrations, but they'll take your bank account. You need to have a separate bank account, and they'll attach it, and it's all automated. There are some things that may not be automated if you sell on different platforms, where you may have to input data, but they're amazing. At least go give them a look if that applies to you over there, my Reseller Genie. And if you use code Commonwealth, you can get 15% off, which is really cool, and I get a little bit of a kickback on a sign-up. So anyway, no pressure, just something that's out there. I love those two folks over there, Faith and Paul. They are truly just awesome people. I've had them here to my home, actually, and I can't wait to see y'all again. So, all right, here we go. New King James. Oh, I know what I was going to say. That over there, they can backdate it. So if you did it now before the end of the year, they can pull all that information from the entire year and help you with it, even if it's after the fact. So Holy Bible, the New King James Version, $14.90. I think this is right. Let me double check. This isn't the right one, is it? Nope, I don't have the right one. Almost made that mistake. And that's the beauty of something like that. You get a system where, you know, you have a return and everything. All that stuff gets automatically deducted and all that stuff. This one's not in great shape, as you can see right there. But it's still sold for $14.95 plus shipping, and I got it for free. I guess we'll talk for just a second, although I think it should be irrelevant for so many of us about the 1099 and the limit and all that stuff. But this is the thing that's supposed to never sell, right? Paid $1 for this Squishmallow with the tag Amy. It's a little chick, and it's sold for $14.95 plus shipping. So this is what I mean by it being irrelevant. And people disagree with me. You know, there'll be a lot of people, if you read these comments, that disagree with a lot of what I say. And I get that. That's fine. There's no single right way. But I can tell you one thing that's right is if you're planning on doing this long term, or making any kind of significant, a couple thousand, $5,000, $10,000 a year, whatever it is, you know, enough to pay off your car debt or whatever, you know, you should be taking these steps for sure. Because if you're not talking about if you're not keeping track of mileage and your deductions and all this stuff, the cost of goods even, you're going to end up paying taxes on way more than you should. And that's going to cut into your bottom line. If that's the case, what the heck are you doing it for to begin with? And the 1099 thing, I think, is always an interesting debate, because in reality, if people are doing this seriously, it shouldn't make that big of a difference if it is $20,000, $5,000, or $600. I suppose $20,000 would make a difference for some folks. But, you know, if it's $600 eventually sometime down the road, it's going to actually help us resellers. I don't support it, but it would help us resellers because it would take the casual seller completely out of it. $5,000, which looks like here's the number for this year, you know, it's going to take some out, but it's not going to wipe out the casual seller. So my guess is you're probably not going to see that $600 anytime soon, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. You need to be paying taxes on the profit you make, and you need to be setting up systems that are helpful to you as you grow this thing, if you plan on growing it. All right, taxes are a boring necessity, right? Talking about them as a reseller. So let's get to the good stuff. Let's get to a couple of giveaways here, announcing and doing another one. Got this Rock Band pedal. Got this for free, y'all, at a sale, which was really cool. And I hate to avoid those big whole Rock Band setups, but man, there's money in them. This one sold for $24.95. plus shipping. All right, every episode we're giving away My Go-To Tape. 4 packs of My Go-To Tape, compliments of Joel, which somebody was criticizing the other day. I can't remember if it was Reddit or somebody else. And they were saying something that just simply isn't true, so I thought I'd respond to it. I'd pay for my tape. I pay for my bubble wrap. I don't get anything for free from them. Now, what I do get is a kickback if you use code Commonwealth on stuff over there. You don't get a kickback on the bubble wrap, but if you use my link, I do, which I've tried to get him to change, but he won't change that. But if you buy anything other than bubble wrap, I get a little kickback. So whatever, and it doesn't matter. Nobody has to do it. I'm just happy that he sent us tape that we can give away. And Jesse something, I cannot remember. Jesse Mills is the first winner every episode from here for a long, long time, at least through the beginning of the year, but probably into February. We're going to be giving away a 4-pack of tape, completely free, shipped to your house. And Jesse Mills, send me an email, commonwealthpicker@gmail.com, and give me your information. We'll ship it over to you. And so for this video, put My Go-To Tape, just like that, MYGOTT, 2 tape. And you can find it over on AmericanBubbleBoy.com, but you just look up tape and give it a shot. So don't forget to use code Commonwealth. You get 5% off. And let's give away, and I'll announce the winner on the next one, and the next one, and the next one. We'll just do My Go-To Tape as the giveaway for all of those. Not on the Commonwealth Picker channel. Sometimes people put it over there. Commonwealth Flipper channel, we're giving it away. I'm not shipping it, by the way. Joel's going to ship it to you. I'm going to give him your information. So we're going to give away a bunch of tape over the coming months. They got a bunch of new products and different sizes and strength tapes and all that stuff. So you should go and shrink wrap and something else. I don't remember. Tape guns. I don't know what else they got. You can go check it out. But I need to give away a t-shirt. And I don't have permission to do it this way, but I'm going to do it anyways. Somebody told me at one point, they said, you know, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. So what I'm going to say is you go over in this video, if you go to 80stees.com, go through my link, by the way, it's down there. If you go through that, and I get a little bit of, no, actually I don't on this one. I don't think I get anything, but still go through the link because then they'll know I sent you. I'm giving away a t-shirt, but I want you to go pick the one you want. So go over there, check it out. If you use code Commonwealth, you can get 30% off or 35%. I should probably figure that out. But pick the one you want and then put 80s Tees down below and put the name of the shirt you want. And you can pick the one you want. And then if you win, I'll announce it. And you can send me an email and I'll give you I'll send that message over to them and they'll ship it out. And if they refuse to, because I'm supposed to give away the shirt I'm wearing, but I want you to find one you want in your size and all that. If they tell me no, I'll pay for it. I don't think they'll tell me no though. So, at any rate, 80stees.com, code Commonwealth. Oh my goodness, I got 2 cats this time. Sometimes you find a vintage t-shirt that's just so cool that you just make up the price because nobody else has it. This is a vintage single stitch nutmeg, made in the USA, Virginia Tech t-shirt. Just screams 90s right here. Late 90s. And that shirt, I just put $25.95 on. It took a little bit of time, but it sold full price, $25.95 plus shipping. All right, y'all, we have Reagan here. We got Sparky here. How you doing, Sparky?
We also found the clipboard.
And we found the clipboard, y'all. We found the clipboard. We cleaned the basement a couple days ago, getting ready for Christmas, and we found it. What are you doing? I see some bad stuff going on here. Some bad stuff. They're not too much, I guess. She can hurt. He can hurt. Reagan's already been in here shipping today, and she's got a few folks that she wants to thank for buying stuff from CommonwealthPicker.com.
Deanne and Bradley got a black light, and then Tyler got an ornament.
Very good. Thank you. And there's a few more we'll thank on the next episode as well. So thank you, Reagan. Reagan's been working really hard, and we're running out of ornaments, y'all. But that's good. Some of them got bought on Dibdit, and some of them got bought on CommonwealthPicker.com. You want to say goodbye? Huh? You want to say goodbye? No? All right, she will.
Bye, and don't forget to get your stickers at CommonwealthPicker.com.
Sadly, this is the second time I've sold this Honda Line jacket. First time it got returned because it didn't fit. And so we made a little adjustment to the listing, but not much because it really truly is a vintage size, and it's a vintage size large. But we just said it would, you know, fit a modern medium, you know, in between a medium and a large, and that's really what it is. So put the measurements as always on it. And I'm still after the return and all that stuff. Still making money on it. Sold for $50 plus shipping. All right, Turner has some Commonwealth comedy for us. But before I do, I forgot to mention when Reagan was in here. I don't know if she'll be later in the video. But thanks to you guys, we raised some money and sent it to the Blessing Place for their Thanksgiving Day celebration. So I know it's a little late, but they knew about it before. I just didn't send it. Any rate. All right, Turner's got a joke. What do you got?
What did one Dorito farmer say to the other Dorito farmer?
What did one Dorito farmer say to the other Dorito farmer? I don't know what.
Cool Ranch.
Is that your favorite? Do you like Cool Ranch? Yeah, what's the other one you like? Sweet chili or something?
Spicy sweet chili.
Spicy sweet chili. Do you like the normal nacho one? Mm-hmm. You do? Mm-hmm. I don't like that one. Anyway, thanks, bud.
Bye.
All right, don't forget to put my go-to tape in the comments below to be entered to win. And you're going to stay, if you actually go to 80stees.com, go through that link and look for a shirt, you're going to stand a pretty good chance of winning it compared to usual, because less people are going to do that, which is perfectly fine. And hopefully somebody out there. I've had one person in the last month won, and they never have emailed me. So I guess they didn't watch every video. That's a good way to get people coming back, I suppose. Any rate, thank you all for everything. Let me know in the comments below what you do for your accounting and bookkeeping and all that stuff. Tell me where you think I'm wrong. Tell me where you think you're right. Or tell me if you think I'm right. So, any rate, thank you all for joining us. By the way, I would say this. I'm going to add one more thing to that part of it. You know, there's a lot of people out there like me who say, we get sponsorships or we get affiliate links or whatever, and they, go do this, go do this, go do this. And a lot of it adds up to a lot of money, whether it's, cross-listing or all the different things, buy your tape here, buy whatever. I try to really do a good job with that. I've made mistakes in the past that I've tried to make right, and I will in the future if I do again. But I would say of all the things that I talk about, the best thing I think for resellers, most resellers, depending on how your mind works, if you like accounting, if you're good at it, if you keep track of stuff, maybe it's not, but for most people, other than buying the Inaman as an investment, of course, for your eBay business. I say that tongue-in-cheek. My Reseller Genie really is, to me, that's the kind of thing that you make your money back and far more on if you're like me. So, anyway, I'll stop shilling today. Thank y'all for joining us, and I can't wait to see you next.